Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the January meeting of the Town of Poughkeepsie Zoning Board of Appeals. Please rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of
the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Happy New Year, everyone. And tonight we're welcoming a new board counsel, Lisa Cobb. And we have two of our regular members not here tonight, so the two alternates, Phyllis Capone and Paul Leahy, will be voting members on all items. For those that are new to our procedure, the first half of the meeting is devoted to public hearings that we hold on each of the applications, and we do this in the order that they're listed on the agenda. There are copies of the agenda in the tray next to our counsel's desk. For the public hearing, we'll ask each applicant to come forward and to be sworn in. At that time, we'll ask the applicant to give a very brief description of their application, and then members of the board will have an opportunity to ask questions about that application. Once the board members have finished, the floor will be open to anyone from the public that wishes to address that application and that application only. Once we've heard all of the relevant testimony, we will close the public hearing and move on to the next item. After we've gone through the agenda and held all of the public hearings, we'll return to the top of the agenda for the deliberation and the decision phase. During this part of the meeting, there will be no further public input, although it's obviously a public meeting and you're more than welcome to stay and listen to our deliberations. Okay.
I can give an explanation on this.
Well, okay. The first item is a closed public hearing, so we move directly to number 2, and you have information on.
Actually, item number 2, the applicant submitted a letter request for an adjournment to February. That we typically honor that request. The last item actually on the agenda, Lutheran Care, going to ask the board not to open the public hearing. That was one that was actually advertised in the newspaper, but we did not send out the mailings to the adjoining owners. The applicant, essentially we're holding the application kind of in abeyance at this point, both here and the public hearing, which was already convened before the planning board. We're not going to open the public hearing on that one tonight. The applicant will let us know at some future date how they wish to have us process the application, if and when.
Okay, so for item number 2, I move that we adjourn the public hearing. This is the Young Home and Property LLC, 60 Cedar Street. That we adjourn this public hearing to our February meeting, February 9th.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? I would just say that I'm concerned that we're postponing this on, and I would hope that they would come before us soon. And
Mr.
get
Chairman,
this resolved.
with the board's permission, what we will do is to have staff prepare a letter to the applicant advising him that if he doesn't show up in February, present whatever additional information the board had previously asked him to provide, that it's likely the board will dismiss the application at that time. He can always reapply, but at this point it's being carried over for, I think, third time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So with your permission, we will take care of that.
Okay, that would, thank you. Okay, so on the motion to adjourn this to February, it's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Recusals? Okay. Item number 3, I understand they have also requested an adjournment. You have a letter
Yes.
to that effect that I just saw. Okay, here, once again, I'm concerned this now has been adjourned at least twice in the past. But I think we can wait one more month. So I move that item number 3, Leanne Lee, 81 Buckingham Avenue, be adjourned to the February 9th meeting.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Recusals? Okay, so we're adjourned to February. Item number 4, Richard Prieto, if I mispronounce it, forgive me, 35 Del Basso Boulevard. So if you would come in, have a seat. If you just state your name for the record.
Richard Prieto.
Mr. Prieto, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Please be advised that you are under oath, and any false statements made by you are subject to perjury pursuant to the laws of the state of New York.
Understood.
Okay, so briefly, you're applying for a variance?
Variance on a garage.
Okay, and why do you need a variance?
Oh, because I guess you're supposed to be 10 feet off the property line, and I wanted 3 feet off the property line.
Okay. Okay. And this is for a garage?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Christine, any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
Betty?
I have no question.
Art?
No question.
Okay. If I recall, when I was out there, along that property line, there's a fence, and I believe some bushes or small trees.
Yep.
Yeah. And are those going to stay?
Yes.
Okay.
My grandmother actually planted those when I was a baby, so they're not going anywhere.
Oh, protected species.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Very good. Okay. Paul?
The lot line, there was a fence there. Is that the lot line or is,
Yes.
okay,
That fence is the lot line, yeah.
okay. That's all I need to know.
Okay. Phyllis?
I have no questions.
Carmen?
No questions.
Okay. Well, if there are no other questions from the board, is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the application at 35 Del Balzo Boulevard? Hearing none, is there a motion to close public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Recusals? Thank you very much. That's it.
Thank you.
Okay. Item number 5, Daljit Singh, 7 Kimberly Court. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening.
Okay, if you just state your name.
Daljit Singh?
Mr. Singh, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Please be advised that you are under oath, and any false statements made by you are subject to perjury pursuant to the laws of the state of New York.
Yes, I do.
Okay, and you're seeking a variance, why?
For the shed, come garage. Because that's the only place, I can build, the metal shed to park my car. So, there is another places, but those places are like, there's one side is like septic tanks, and that's the only place, is the right place to.
Okay, and you refer to it as a shed, but according to the drawings, it's 12 feet by 25 feet.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, and it's really going to serve as a garage.
Yes.
You're going to store a vehicle in it.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. Christine, any questions?
No questions.
Betty?
When we were out there, it looked like the obvious solution for where to put a garage.
Right. Art?
I agree with Betty, there's really no other place for it, and it's kind of hidden from sight. If you're on the main road, you can't see it, so I'm good with it.
Yeah, Yeah, even though technically it's in the
Yeah.
front yard, it really is kind of off to the side and, Paul?
I had a question about just your snow removal issues. Have you thought about that, about what you're gonna do?
Yeah, because the blacktop in the front of the house, is like too wide, because when I park my two cars over there, it is hard for me to remove the snow, because the cars are still there. When there is nothing, this empty place is always easy to clean the snow, so that's why, like one car is gonna be in the garage, so at least, I can remove the snow easily, and that's gonna help me out,
Okay, that's it.
Okay. Phyllis?
Is there going to be any storage space above it, or is it just going to be a garage, one story?
No, just one story, just a garage. Like it's not like garage, like a metal shed. They build on a site, like a metal garage. Is like you can call it a garage or shed, whatever, like. But you can park a car or you can store stuff, But I'm gonna use for the car parking,
Excuse me, sir. It's not going to be a garden shed. It's going to be one of these steel sheds that they put up.
Steel, yes.
It's not a
steel.
garden shed like you get at Sears or something like that. It's not the thin aluminum.
No, it's gonna be metal, yes,
Okay.
steel, yeah.
Is it enclosed?
Yes,
Okay.
it's close, yeah.
Okay. Phyllis, anything else?
Are you going to need to run electricity to that? or
No electricity.
Okay. No further questions.
Carmen?
Just one question. There was a suggestion that plantings, you put some plantings around by the east side of the shed,
Yes,
and that could do some screening for your neighbors.
I can do that, yeah.
You can do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I think that should be a requirement
Okay.
for our approval. Thank you.
Okay, there are no other questions from the board. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the application at 7 Kimberly Court? Okay, seeing none. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Recusals? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Anthony Leo, 11 Spring Street.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I'd like to advise the board that I'm recusing myself from this matter because of the involvement of my former firm with Mr. Leo.
Okay, thank you. So note that for the record. Okay, so if both of you would just state your names and be sworn in.
Anthony Leo.
Marie Welch. Ms. Welch and Mr. Leo, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God?
I do.
I do. Please be advised that you are under oath, and any false statements made by you are subject to perjury pursuant to the laws of the state of New York.
Okay, so if you want to just briefly explain why you're here.
We're just asking for a sideline setback variance on the east side.
Okay, and let's see, ma'am, your involvement in this.
I'm Mr. Leo's surveyor.
Okay, and so
I believe the map
Yes.
that you have in front of you is probably an old map. The map has been revised to show an existing foundation that's on the property and a proposed addition to that foundation. And if you'd like, I can provide you all with copies of the new map.
yes, we will need that.
Want
Yes.
them now?
Yes.
This is old.
The date of the revised date of the new map is January 5th, 2015. It hadn't been issued before today, so yeah, I would have suspected everything you have is an old map.
Yes, the one I have,
May 21st.
yeah, it was updated May 21st, 2014.
That probably showed the existing foundation, and not the proposed addition. And I don't believe that had the calculations for the open space.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I don't think 8 is enough, is it?
Okay. Okay. Right, this is clearly an updated version of this. Before we go further into the questions and discussions, I just wanted to review with actually both of you when you were here before, and the board made a decision. You retained an attorney and challenged that, and we came to an agreement to settle the lawsuit. And as part of that, there was a set of conditions for what was required for a reapplication. And I believe most of the members of the board have a copy of that legal document. But I just wanted to point out the relevant provision, which is, I guess, paragraph 7, or item 7. Leo's application for any necessary variances shall include all items required by the town code for such an area variance, as well as a site plan generally in accordance with section 210-151 of the town code, prepared by a licensed engineer, architect, or surveyor, showing the grading of the site, building elevations, the location and improvement of the private drive through the site, the drainage system, and other details reasonably required by the engineering department. And B, a proposed floor plan for the proposed structure, which shall be sprinklered. And those are the two requirements. Seems to me what you've just handed out addresses many of the items in Part A, but I think we still need, according to this agreement, the building elevation and the floor plan. And my understanding of this, and Mr. Wilson can correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding is that this agreement takes precedence over any of our rules and requirements. In other words, we have to meet the conditions of this before we can move forward. So my sense at the moment, and we certainly will review what's here, and it's a far more detailed, thank you, than what was provided. So in terms of the grading of the site, and I see the driveway, and I haven't looked at any specific drainage things, but they may be.
Actually, anything that's on there would be existing. I don't do design work. That's required by an engineer.
Okay.
Requires an engineer, so
Okay.
yeah, that would have to go.
So my sense then is that at the moment, your application is simply incomplete. And so if you could bring us the drawings of the building you're proposing to put there. I think we were out and saw, I believe the footprint that's existing there now is what, 10 by 30?
Yes.
Okay. And clearly you've got something else in mind. So could you, in the, next couple of weeks, get drawings to us, and then we'd be able to, do the full hearing next month?
Sure, so that would be a drawing primarily just of the proposed addition, of the 8
Well-
by 30 proposed, or?
Oh, okay, well, I think.
Yeah, I think our understanding was we wanted to see the entire project.
Right.
Yeah. So I think the fairest thing for everyone is just for us to adjourn this. And, I mean, you've got quite a bit of it here, but I think we need the whole package, according to this stipulation. Is that,
Makes sense.
okay? Any other comments? I don't know what the sense of the board, do we want any public input or?
I don't see I can have any input until you know exactly what the project is.
I agree. I think the best thing to do is simply to adjourn this.
Is a month enough for you, or you want more time?
I don't believe it probably would be. It took a considerable time for our architect to design the first 10 by 30, so I'm sure he's busy. It would probably take him a while to design another 8 by 30.
Well, what we can do is adjourn it to next time. If that's too short, we'll adjourn it again. I mean, that's fine. You know, we want to give you a chance to make the best case you can.
Do you just want a sketch of the proposed building, or do you want a detailed blueprint? Because, you know, we really don't want to go to the extent of a blueprint if we're not going to build it. I mean,
Wasn't that the agreement?
That's part of the
That was part of the
agreement. And-
settlement agreement, I believe.
Mr. Chairman, I also got from that once the application was put together, that how complete it was had to be determined by the engineering department. So that once we got the application,
Yeah, and so probably you'd be best advised, and again, you can correct me if I'm going in the wrong direction. You might simply want to go to the engineering department and, you know, show them this, show them what you've got, and find out what they think is sufficient. And, you know, I just don't know. It's probably not going to be blueprint level detail, but certainly what the building is going to look like, you know, the floor plan, is what we need.
This has to be by a licensed person, right? It's not by Mr. Leo. He had that problem last time he was doing the hand sketches.
it stipulates.
Okay. Well, the building elevations and the site plan have to be by a professional. The proposed floor plan, it doesn't specify that has to be an architect. I mean, obviously, once you've determined the elevation in some sense, that also fixes certain things about the floor plan, but,
Jim, who would set the sprinkler system? The sprinkler system that has to be noted in the,
yeah.
That was specifically required by the Fairview Fire Department as part of the last review.
no, I understand that, but that would have to be a professional, correct?
Typically, the design for things like that are included at the time that Mr. Leo would make his application for his building permit in terms of the actual review. Now, I don't know if the original 10 by 30 structure that he is building included that or not. That I don't know. But certainly, as a result of the stipulation, any conditions coming out of the board's decision, assuming that you act favorably, would require him to put the sprinkler system in, and we would need design specs on that.
The new area shows 10 by 26, not 10 by 30.
The reason for that was when it was 10 by 30, it was too close to the rear setback, would have required another variance. So Mr. Leo did make a change to the foundation to make sure that it was not within the rear setback.
So the actual foundation is 26, not 30?
About 26, I'd have to put my scale on it or calculate it. I don't think we put a dimension on it. But it is less than the 10 by 30 that was originally proposed.
Okay.
the concrete foundation is 10 by 26, but it cantilevers out 4 feet in the front.
Yeah, I saw the front. I was just
Yeah.
concerned about the
We'll
foundation.
need to talk about this because the for zoning purposes, we don't just measure to the foundation, we measure to the improvements. If you have some cantilevering of the improvements within that outward from the foundation, that's where you're going to need to measure it to. So we'll need real specs for your structure itself.
No, that's understood, because that's what the second floor is the full 10 by 30.
Okay, okay.
Does that count for impervious area also, or not?
We typically do it on the foundation, interestingly enough, because, if you've got something sort of cantilevered out, it's not actually resting on the ground. It's kind of an odd calculation. We do have certain parts of our code that do provide for projections of things like eaves and porches and what have you into a yard, which is fine. But I think we need to have that information to make sure that we're capturing all the variances that may actually be required.
On one of the maps here, it shows our covered space to be about 30%.
Mr. Chairman, if I could make a recommendation, this may actually take Mr. Leo and our departments to a little bit time to pull this together, and I suspect that we may very well have a neighbor or two who might be in attendance tonight. My recommendation would be actually push this out to April as opposed to trying to get to the February meeting based on what Mr. Leo has already indicated. He may need some time to pull together his floor plans and create a complete package. I don't want to just sort of rush this thing and.
Well, the more I see, it's just simply a projection of a proposed rectangle. It's just 8 by 30, the addition. So I think that'd be pretty easy to draw.
But a floor plan.
As far as April goes, I'm pretty confident it could be ready by March.
I'm sorry, March. I misspoke. Yeah.
Yeah, March. Okay, March.
March. I'm sorry.
March is fine. Okay, that'd be March 9th. And so materials would have to come in, about 2 weeks before that?
February 19th, the submittal.
Okay. And once again, if you run into a snag, we're more than willing to,
And
give you more
Mr.
time.
Chairman, do you suggest that he submits it to the engineering department for their approval before it comes to us?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, I think your next stop should be engineering. And I don't know, do you want to sort of alert them to?
Yeah, absolutely.
And share materials with them so that they.
And actually, I could have the engineering department send someone out even in advance of getting the next round of materials. So we can handle that.
Okay, all right. Okay. Any further questions or comments from the board? Okay, if not, I move that
Next time.
item number 6, 11 Spring Street, be adjourned to the March meeting, March 9th.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Yes,
The public
point
hearing has been technically closed, or adjourned, rather. So, if it's a technical question or something you want to ask us or one of the staff after the meeting, that would be fine. But I think right now I would rather just adjourn everything, and then once we have the full package, entertain any and all public comment at that time.
It's not a comment, though. It's a procedural question. I promise you I will not belabor your record. I just need to know something so that I can represent my client.
Okay, very well.
I'm going to take your time, I promise you. My name is Pat Moore. I represent Mr. and Mrs. Green, who are the neighbors. September 12th, your board made a...
Let's see, I think you're going to need to state your name and be sworn in.
Mr. Moore, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I hope you got it.
Absolutely do.
Please be advised that you are under oath, and any false statements made by you are subject to perjury pursuant to the laws of the state of New York.
So I'm an attorney in Poughkeepsie. I represent Mr. and Mrs. Green. My name is Patrick Moore. Procedural quagmire I have is the September 12th decision by this board, which denied 2 area variances, was in essence overturned by a stipulation of settlement. There's a building permit on file now from the applicant. My reading of what happened in the last board meeting the September board meeting and the lawsuit is that the variances are already granted. That's how I read that legal document. And if I'm off in that understanding. But they applied for a variance. You said no.
Mr. Moore, can you grab
He can't hear you.
You said no, and then the stipulation overturned your decision of no. So therefore, I read that there's already a variance in effect, and now they're coming before the board asking for another variance.
That is not my understanding, but let me.
No, not at all. The stipulation settled out the lawsuit, but gave Mr. Leo the opportunity to come back at a future point in time, which he now has, for such additional variances as he may need in order to be able to go forward. There were, aside from the variances, there was a 280A approval that also was settled out as part of that, but no part of that settlement granted him variances. All it said was that when he comes back in, he needed to make an application in a certain fashion, allow the town to review it.
Understood.
As we've discussed.
That's it. That's all I needed to clarify. I appreciate it very much. Thanks.
Okay, fine. All right. Okay, so we're adjourned until March. Okay?
Thank you.
Good. Item 7, Salsa Restaurant, 2585 South Road. Is there anyone? There.
Here we are.
Okay. Okay, good evening. So if you would just state your names for the record.
Debbie Magiacomo, owner of Quick Signs and Autographics.
Okay.
I'm Maria Alvarez, owner of Salsa Restaurant.
Ms. Magiacomo and Ms. Alvarez, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please be advised that you are under oath, and any false statements made by you are subject to perjury pursuant to the laws of the state of New York.
Okay, and let's see, in the application you've submitted, it appears you're looking for a variance for a new sign.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay,
Added to an existing road sign.
okay. And you've submitted the sign itself and then a kind of photo rendering showing where it would go on the main monument sign. Christine, any questions?
No questions.
Betty?
I have no questions.
Art?
No questions.
Oh, yes, we have questions.
I do have a question, but it's a little bit tangential. What is that rock about?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's part of
The manager from the plaza put it.
No.
Okay. Paul?
Was there anything from the county?
That's my question.
We have not heard back from the county. So we're not able to vote on it tonight. We can have the hearing, and I suppose we should just adjourn the hearing probably until next time, but quite frankly, this is pretty straightforward. We simply have to wait for the paperwork to go through the county.
Okay, I understand.
So I guess that was your question, I guess. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Phyllis?
Just the one sign on the one?
It's
'Cause there's a
just, it just
that
fits
one.
in that area, it just fits in that last area above the rock.
Above the rock.
Yeah, same size pretty much as the ones above it,
Two-sided or one-sided? It's two-sided, right?
two-sided. It's a lighted sign. We'll call in a licensed electrician to hook it up to the existing electric that's there.
The others are also lit.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have no further questions.
Okay. Carmen?
Does the rock light up?
I think it used to. I'm not sure if it does anymore.
Someone said it was lit somehow.
It is.
It is. Art says it.
That's got no bearing on what we're doing.
Okay. Well, if anybody finds out the story behind that rock,
Yes.
let us know. I think
Obviously,
I think
there's a lot of
all-
curiosity about it.
Yeah, all of us on the field trip It was one of these where, we've been past that sign hundreds of times and never really looked at it, and we all kind of scratched our
I've
heads.
asked the same question too. I don't understand the rock either.
We all have heard of St. Peter, but,
Okay. All right, so there's no one else in the audience, but I'll ask anyway. Is there anyone that wishes to address the Salsa Restaurant 2585 South Road sign? Okay, hearing none. If there are no further questions, I move that our public hearing be adjourned to the February meeting, and that's
February 9th.
February 9th.
Right.
Is there
Okay.
a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Recusals? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Okay,
Do we have anything left?
okay, that completes the public hearings,
And
so we can return now to the top of the agenda.
Chairman, I must recuse myself on item number 1.
Okay. All right, at our last meeting, we made the decision to adjourn it because the county has filed a letter opposing the granting of this variance. And what that means is that for us to grant the variance, we need a supermajority, which means a majority plus one. So a majority of our board is 4 members plus one. It would mean that in order to grant this variance would require 5 yes votes. And last time because of absences, we were, and one recusal, we were down to 6 members. Now, as it happens, we are back in that situation again. There are present 6 voting members. So we have to make a decision whether we want to go ahead and actually vote on this variance now, or do we try to wait and see if we could get a full complement of 7?
You have 7.
We have 7.
no,
He's
we are,
recused himself.
I'm sorry.
Recusal.
I'm sorry.
Oh, the recusal.
So we have 6. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 6. I would. This has been on our agenda for a long time. I would like to move forward with this, and just so that I think there's no mistake here. Weighing the pros and cons, I am inclined to grant the variance. I think we've asked the applicant to show us some alternatives. Given that particular building and its size, I think what's being requested is reasonable. It may not be perfect, but I think it's reasonable. The building is in a location that makes it very hard to be seen from anywhere except Route 9. Across Route 9 is essentially the Marist football facility, and in addition, it's screened by woods. The county's main objections seem to be the impact of this signage on the area. And my response to that is that in general, yes, but in this particular case, this is a building that has very little, or at least that facade of the building, has very little impact on the neighboring properties. So I would support the variance, but others may not agree. And so I think we have 2 decisions. One is the variance itself. The second is, do we want to go forward now, or should we wait? And I entertain the wisdom of the board on this one.
In fairness to you and to the Rutberg Corporation, Rutberg Breslau, I don't agree with you. I think, the sign was put up without variances, to the best of my knowledge. We have never received a actual footprint of what that size that sign is. So, in my opinion, I may be wrong, but in fairness to other business owners that have proceeded properly, I can't support a yes vote.
Okay.
I think that the intent of the ordinance is to have the signage that is allowed without, by right, so to speak, is kept very small for an absolute reason, so that we can control what goes up and in the town. I think that they put that, when he changed it, all he did was buy enough letters to put in the new name to match the size that was there. The allowed signage by right is obviously way too small to have any effect whatsoever. So I'm inclined to agree with you.
Okay.
I think that one of the problems with this one is the existing signs, the two existing signs above it. And that was not discovered or alerted. So I think this is a wake-up call for us, and to be a little more alert as to when signs go up that are beyond the code. Those are fairly large signs, and I agree that you really need to be able to see it from Route 9. Not quite that large, though. The variance that's allowed is too small, but I think we just have to be a little more alert, and I think Mr. Rutberg is going to benefit from that because I think we didn't catch something earlier.
So you would oppose this?
What?
You would oppose a variance?
No, I would agree. I have questions about it, and I just don't feel that he has to pay the price when there are two other signs that are equally large above it.
Apparently, there's some difficulty in determining exactly how big they are, and I think we're all pretty sure that they are not in compliance.
Right.
And it seems to me at the minimum, they have to come and get variances as well. If that's what we decide to do.
Exactly. And do we really want to go there? I'm not so sure. So
I think they should. I mean, if the lower sign has to come in and as he has and apply for a variance, so should the others.
If they don't, why does any other business have to come in and, that's my opinion. We're just letting a monster just duplicate itself all over the town. Potentially. That's my opinion. I mean, these folks, I'm sure, knew when they put those signs up that somebody had to come in here and get some kind of okay from the town.
Well, I've said before, ignorance is bliss. And I think we just have to be a little more alert.
Okay.
Jim?
Yeah.
How is it that Mr. Rutberg came to us? Was he cited? Did he come in of his own accord? Do we have any information regarding that?
I believe he, at the time that he was changing out the letters, I'm unclear whether it was picked up by the zoning administrator or whether he applied for that. But during the review, the part of our problem is particularly for these wall signs, and particularly since, the ones that are up in the air, they may receive either a building permit or a variance. And once they're up, we frankly have no practical way of measuring that what they put up is actually what was approved. That's something that I'm working with the zoning administrator in terms of a follow-up certification process. It does appear that what was put up is probably larger than what was originally allowed. But again, it's a practical problem that the signs are up high on a wall, and, the zoning administrator only has, so much ability to go out there and measure. The manner in which it came before you, again, I can ask the zoning administrator to put together a quick memo. I'm not sure how that may sway your vote one way or the other, or the relevancy of it, but that's my information, is that it was picked up as part of something that he was doing to swap out letters.
And I'm confused as to why you're not able to get an accurate measurement when the manufacturer knows how big the sign that he put up is. I'm confused by that.
Yeah, the sign goes up, and we rely on the information that we are provided at the time that they give us a permit. Does that sometimes change between the time the permit is issued and the time the sign goes up? Maybe. And I don't really want to speculate, but it does appear that that's what happened in this case.
For the Rutberg sign, we do have the manufacturer's specs. So we know that very accurately.
Right.
The problem is the other two, they're on second and third floor levels. We can't get there to actually measure it. They're already there. So we would have to require the owners to come in with whatever the specs were from whatever sign company they contracted with.
Yeah, again, that's a certification process I'm working on with the zoning administrator. We've never done it before, but it's obvious that we've had enough issues that it's becoming something we have to deal with.
I think, Jim, when you mentioned, I don't know, last month or the month before, the facade, each facade for each of the different signs is a different sign.
Yes.
So that actually, when you look at it related to the facade, because that's the only way I can see it now, since you brought that up, it actually looks appropriate, because that facade is bigger. The one that has the sign in between the two sizes is like the medium-sized facade.
Yep.
So to me, it makes sense.
Okay. Well, do we want to proceed with a vote on this, or?
If I could, maybe just to offer the board some information. Larry Sloman is not here tonight. Is there a question whether he's going to be here in February?
He's not going to.
He is not.
Not be here in February. The representative, ZBA's representative from the second ward was not reappointed. The councilman for the second ward has not, as of the last time I talked to him last week, has not identified a replacement. It may be some time before that occurs. Okay. And so you're looking possibly at pushing, if you don't vote tonight, pushing this thing out to March to get your full complement, because Larry won't be here in February.
Okay.
Want to do a sample?
Whatever. I was just going to say, I agree with what you're saying and what you're saying, Jim. I think even when it said Rutberg Basso, adding Breslow, those few extra letters made it that much longer, but it's already, it's there, and it's on the biggest part, like Betty said, of the wall.
Okay. I'm trying to be fair here, to both to the applicant and to those that might oppose this. I don't like this to just keep hanging out there. On the other hand, there's no harm done if we wait.
Well, counsel, you did close the public hearing, and you have to make a decision within 62 days of that date. Advise it.
Okay, and
Well, denial.
so we
We
are,
have till February, so, and Larry's coming, so.
okay,
62 days.
Si-
Closed it
on
62 days,
December 8th,
I thought it was December 12th, but
or,
I don't know.
maybe it,
It was adjourned at 12/8, so that must have been our meeting day.
Yeah.
Right.
okay,
So 62 days from that, so.
okay. Would that get us to February?
But Larry's not gonna be here.
But he's not going to be here anyway. And we may not have, it looks to me like we need to proceed to a vote then. Okay. All right, any other discussion?
So this vote kind of impacts what the whole side of the building is going to look like?
The other two signs really are not part of this application.
No, I'm aware. I'm, okay.
Yeah. I mean, the only issue is really an issue for the zoning administrator, and that's whether she wants to determine that there may be a violation and notify them that they need to come before us for a variance. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, my
Yeah.
count on the 62 days from the December 8th meeting
Yeah,
is that we're going to end up being 2 days short in February. So in other words, by the time of the meeting, you'll be at 64 days.
okay. Well, then we do need to proceed. Okay, in that case, I note that this is an unlisted action, so I move that the Town of Poughkeepsie ZBA declare itself lead agents for purposes of the environmental review of the application for Rutberg Breslow personal injury law.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There's
recusal.
one recusal.
Thank you.
Okay.
No,
Um,
for the agents.
Okay.
I further move that based on the information in the application and in a short form EAF, that the ZBA determines that the action proposed at Rudberg Breslow personal injury law will have no significant impact on the environment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and one recusal. Okay. We've noted already that the county has filed a letter opposing this. So let me make a motion here. And I want to do a slight modification to the staff report, which is in your packet, that in general, the staff report suggested that we look at alternative sizes, and we've done that. And also argued that the proposed sign does in fact fit with the building and the site. Okay, I move that the board approve the request for an area variance as set forth in item number 1. This decision is based on review of the application, testimony of the applicant, testimony offered in the public hearing, results of site visits by board members, and the staff report. In approving this variance, the board adopts as findings the determinations found in items 1 through 5 of the staff report with the following modifications. In item number 2, just note that whether the benefit sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance. I would just note here that when we asked for the 3 different size signs, it was the consensus of the board that the sign that meets the size requirement would in fact be too small. And as a result, A variance would be required for any sign that really would be appropriate for the size of the building and for a building that's facing a major highway. In item number 4 of the staff report, I would simply, we can actually replace that language. The staff report language asks for the 3 alternative renderings. We've seen that. As far as the impact on the physical and environmental conditions of the neighborhood or district, I would note that the board has determined that the sign is visible only from Route 9, that areas west of Route 9 are screened in whole and part by trees and are in fact occupied by the Marist College football fields, so that there are no residences and actually no other businesses that would be directly impacted by the proposed sign. Okay, with those modifications, I move the adoption or the granting of this variance. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay.
Do you want to add that when looking at the panels, that each panel is a different size and that the ratio as it is appears to be more appropriate? Or want to just leave that part out?
And I think that's a relevant point, and let's include that under point number 2, or actually under point number 4 in terms of its impact on the physical environment. Yes, that so add essentially Betty's language that the proposed sign is actually going into a larger facade area than the other 2 existing signs. And that has a mitigating effect. Okay. If there's no further discussion, I think on this one, since we have to respond to the county, we should have a roll call vote. This.
Christine,
Yes, aye.
Betty,
Yes.
Art,
No?
Jim,
Aye.
Recuse.
Phil.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So it's the vote is 5-1 with 1 recusal. That constitutes a supermajority, so the variance is granted. And I will work with you to. There's some
We'll
language
prepare
that
a
you-
proper response to the
Go
county.
to the county. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, after many months, that is off the agenda.
Okay.
Well, and I want to thank all of you for your thoughtful deliberation on this. Item 4, Richard Prieto, 35 Del Basso Boulevard, a variance to allow an accessory structure or garage to be located 3 feet from the side lot line where 10 feet is required. A type 2 action, and I believe there's I do not have the staff report
There wasn't one.
in my packet. I don't know what I
Have
did.
one.
Have one.
Have one.
Is there not one?
Well, because last month, why was it we?
Well, there was some confusion in the documentation about exactly what variance he required.
Oh, okay.
How many,
All right.
How many feet? Yes,
and,
That's right.
and
Right.
I think I've forgotten what it was, and we all went out there on the field trip and looked at it and said, wait a minute, this is only like
There
3
was a
feet.
problem actually with the notice that originally went out.
Oh.
There was a staff report prepared, obviously, when it pulled from the agenda last month. We neglected to release it to you. It was actually in support of the variance.
Okay. Is there a staff report, or should we?
You're going to need to go through the standards, but the staff report was supportive of the application.
Okay. Okay, in that case, all right, let's, all right. Okay. All right, I think with your board's permission, I'll just make the motion and try to draft a set of findings, and I invite you to help me out as we go along here. I move that the board approve the request for an area variance set forth in item number 4 as decisions based on the review of the application, testimony of the applicant, testimony offered in the public hearing, results of site visits by board members, and the staff report. In approving this variance, the board adopts as findings the following. Whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of the area variance. The board finds that the proposed garage will have no negative impact on the neighborhood. We note that there is an existing fence and some existing plantings that will serve to screen the proposed garage from the neighboring property. 2, whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant other than an area variance. Based on the site visits by board members, it's clear that the proposed location is just about the only feasible location for a garage. 3, whether the requested area variance is substantial. There's requesting a 3-foot setback as opposed to 10, so the variance is substantial. Whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions of the neighborhood. Again, based on the site visits and the material that's been submitted, the board finds that there will be very small physical or environmental impact. 5, whether the alleged difficulty was self-created, which consideration should be relevant to the decision of the board, but not necessarily preclude the granting of such an area variance. Arguably, the difficulty here is self-created. On the other hand, the applicant would like to have a garage, which is a standard feature of most homes, and he has very limited alternatives. So, although it is self-created, this is not a major issue. Okay.
I have one question.
Yeah.
The setback for the side yard, isn't it supposed to be 20 or is it still 10?
This is the.
For a garage, it's 10.
It's 10?
Well, it depends on the size. In this case, it exceeds the 100 square feet, which they could go to 6. It's larger than the 100 square feet, so we required 10 under the code.
Okay. All right, I was.
And they're 3 feet, and they're asking for 3, right?
Yeah. For a house,
Detached accessory
20,
structure.
Right, okay.
But for a detached accessory structure, okay. All right, so I'm, given that, I move that we adopt the variance in item number 4.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Recusals? Okay, so 4 is granted. Item number 5, Daljit Singh, 7 Kimberly Court, a variance to allow an accessory structure. This would be a garage / shed in front of the principal structure. This is a type 2 action, so we don't have to do any environmental review. And in your packet, you'll find a staff report concluding that there will be no negative impact to the granting of this variance. Okay, Christine, would you like to make this motion?
Sure. I move that the board approve the request for an area variance set forth in item number 5. This decision is based on a review of the application, the testimony of the applicant, testimony offered in the public hearing, the results of site visits by board members, and the staff report. In approving this variance, the board adopts as findings the determinations found in items 1 through 5 of the staff report.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve the variance, item number 5.
I just wanted something added to that. It had been suggested before, and I mentioned it before, about the plantings around, especially when we're voting on a variance for a structure in front of the principal structure. I just think that that's kind of a given that you should try to do something to screen. So I would like to base the approval on having screening.
This would be on the, what?
On the east
What,
side.
the north?
No, not the east.
Actually,
It'd be on the side nearest his neighbor,
Right.
okay?
Which is nearest the neighbor.
Yeah, there's already a fence there, there's a shed on the neighbor's property, and when the applicant talked about the snow removal thing, if you put landscaping there, he's got no place to put his snow from his driveway. So I think that would be unnecessarily burdensome to the applicant and not provide really any benefit.
The screening would actually screen the shed, the neighbor from looking at.
Well, there's nothing screening the neighbor's shed from him.
Right, that's what yeah.
So the shed would screen each other.
The shed.
Oh, I see what you mean, yeah. Now, I don't, is there a fence there?
Yes.
There is a fence, there's another, the neighbor has a shed, and really the only place for him to do his snow removal is to the side of the building.
I think he can figure that out, Paul.
I think he did.
Well, no, as far as the screening, he agreed to that too.
Well, let's see, what's the consensus here? Who would like to see a condition added to this?
I don't think he needs it.
You don't think it needs one?
Not where it is.
Paul doesn't.
There's a privacy, the neighbor has a privacy fence. You know what I mean? Like you can't see through the neighbor's
The
fence.
whole area
Okay.
though, is unique in the way it's
Yeah.
set up. I mean,
It's
you're
kind of open.
probably not even going to see this garage from the road
Yeah.
at all.
Okay. Well, I gather the consensus is that the condition is not needed. Okay.
Well, I thought so when I was out there, and also in the staff report, it was suggested, so that's what I was basing it on.
Okay. All right, but, okay, so the motion as it's been made, and was there a second?
Yes.
There was a second, is without a condition. So that's what we will be voting on. Any further discussion? Okay, if not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I'm not opposing it, it's okay. I like my screening, though.
Most of the time, I would actually really agree. Okay, item number 6 has been adjourned, and item number 7 has been adjourned because we need to wait for our friends at the county. So that brings us to the end of the agenda. If there's, and item number 8 has been, what, not withdrawn?
No, it's not withdrawn, we're just,
It's,
yeah, you won't see it on your agenda until it actually comes back, and they have to let us know what they want to do.
okay, okay. Okay, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, good night, everyone.